Well, hello again, brothers and sisters. This is the In My Grow Show, the podcast dedicated to taking the mystery out of cannabis. And I'm Alex Robles. Well, I want to thank everyone for showing up again today. I appreciate you taking the time. I also want to thank all the musicians that let me use their music for the show. I appreciate it highly. If you're a musician and you think you've got some music for me, shoot it my way. I'll take a listen to it. Email me at inmygrow@gmail.com, or you can find me on Instagram at inmygrow. Alright, so let's get started with what I'm smoking. Now, yesterday I came across a blackjack. Yeah, and since there's Jack in the name, you know it's a Jack hair. If I keep this up, eventually I'm just going to rename this segment, What Type of Jack Am I Smoking? I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the sativa, you know. What can I say? So, anyways, so this blackjack is a cross between the Black Domina and the Jack Hare. Now the Black Domina itself is an indica hybrid. It's a combination of Northern Lights, Ortega, hash plant, and an Afghani. And I believe Sensi Seed developed that. I have to double check. And that was grown by Fun Uncle, which I love that name, Fun Uncle, because we've all had that fun uncle. You know, the one that was never asked to babysit because it was really like not leaving anybody in charge. I had that uncle. Yeah, shout out to my Uncle Gerardo. How you doing, buddy? I love you. I don't know if you listen to the show. Doesn't matter. Still love you. So like I said, it was grown by Fun Uncle, and I picked that up at Ojai Green's dispensary here in Ojai. It's a nice tight bud, real resiny, and it keeps me evenly medicated for a long time. You know, I can work. It's not going to really knock me down like a heavy indica would. That Jack Hare just kind of elevates it back up to, hey, you know, I'm not gonna get couch lock. So if you get a chance, if you're out there, if you see it, if you see any seeds or see the bud out there, pick up some blackjack. All right, what's next? Okay, next I'm going to do a little social media, and this is really local stuff. The other dispensary up here in Ojai is Sespe Creek Collective, and they've got an event coming up June 30th. It is a cannabis clinic, beginner's guide to the whole plant. As I said, it's going to be Saturday, June 30th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Tickets are $5. And it looks like they have, you know, a few speakers. Going to talk about the endocannabinoid system, if you're not familiar with that is. Different forms of consuming cannabis. It'd be cool if they had a little table that shows you how to roll joints, but I don't know if that's going to be there. It'd be cooler if it was, though. So, like I said, if you're in the Ventura area, or if not, if you can drive to the Ventura area and you want to, you know, go to this beginner's event, I think these clinics should be held more often for people, so we can easily educate the public and have that face-to-face with them, instead of new patients going online and getting bad information. So, like I said, if you're in town and this sounds like something you'd be interested in, check it out. Tickets are $5. Take a friend. And I'll put a link up to the show notes for the event. All right. That's that. Next, let's go into the report from the Cannabis Front Line. One of my favorite parts of the show. And I got this information from the NORML website, that is normal.org. This is just a little bit of what they've got over there. There's a lot more information over there. Let's start off federally. The U.S. House Rules Committee and potentially the full House of Representatives will consider 4 marijuana amendments next week, covering issues ranging from veterans' access to medical cannabis to water rights for hemp growers. Once again, that sounds like a great way to use my tax dollars. let's figure this out for everyone. Let's figure out for the growers how we're going to use the resources, not just water, electricity, and for the veterans, how are we going to help them with the pain using cannabis? Not just the physical pain, but even the mental pain. Okay, I'm going to take a drink of water. I got cotton mouth. All right, fully hydrated. Let's move to Florida. A Florida Circuit Court judge ruled that a legislatively enacted ban on the smoking of medical cannabis in private by qualified patients is unconstitutional. Well, that sounds obvious. Really? Somebody said in Florida you can't smoke cannabis in your house? Wow. That's making criminals out of innocent people. But, well, good on the Florida Circuit Court judge. Good on you. I don't know who you are. Doesn't say here, but round of applause for this brother, or this sister. Don't know what the judge was, but thank you, because that sounds totally ridiculous. Next, North Carolina. House Bill 994 would amend state law so that possession of up to 4 ounces of marijuana carries no penalty, rather than a felony conviction. Under current law, the possession of more than 1.5 ounces of marijuana is classified as a penalty punishable by no more than 8 months in prison and a maximum fine of $1,000. That sounds great for Carolina, because really, they're going to put you in a cage for 1.5 ounces of cannabis? For 8 months. They're going to take away your freedom, stick you in a cage. Wow. And now Illinois, SB 336 seeks to permit physicians to recommend cannabis therapy as an alternative to opioid treatment. That also sounds like a brilliant idea. You know, let's use all the medications available to help people with pain. And let's use those medications that don't addict people, because chronic pain is hard to live with. It's not an easy thing to deal with. And an update to that, SB 36 was approved by both houses on May 31st and now awaits action by Governor Bruce Rauner. Governor Rauner, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Let's go ahead and approve this. Sounds like a good deal for the people in your state. Let me know. Call me. Or email me. Even better. And then you can call me. Okay. And now in Pennsylvania, the mayor signed a marijuana decriminalization ordinance into law, but the police say they will continue to enforce state criminalization. So the local police basically told the mayor, fuck you, we're not listening to this law. Well, that's a tough spot to be in for the mayor. I'm sorry, people, the mayor's trying to be on your side. And that's all the news that's in the report from the Cannabis Frontline today. As I said, go over to the NORML website, that is normal.org. Take a look around, inform yourself, and become a member. They do a lot of good work around the country. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I'm going to take a short break. You can listen to some music that I'm going to put on. I need to get some water, and we're going to get into a little bit of potassium deficiency. I'll be right back. Alright, so thank you for letting me take that short break. Let me grab my notes about potassium. Okay, potassium is the K in NPK, and is a mobile nutrient. Okay, which means that any deficiency is going to start in the lower, older leaves. One of the most basic things that potassium is good for is it makes the plant resistant to bacteria and mold. Okay, just right off the bat, that's one of the most basic things that it's good for. I mean, your plant uses potassium for a lot of other things. You know, some of them is it helps make chlorophyll. It helps regulate the opening and the closing of the stomatas. The stomatas are, think of the stomatas as the pores on the leaves. You know, they help the plant transpire or sweat. So that's another thing that potassium helps with. You know, it's also going to help grow a really strong root system and makes it easier for the plant to take up, you know, water. Those are just some of the things. I mean, potassium is used for all kinds of things, like pulling sugars together, but I'm not going to go into that. So now when your plant is deficient, the older leaves are going to start to yellow up and the tips are going to start to burn. And then from there, along the edges, it's going to start to yellow up even more, and more little burnt, they're little burnt spots, they look like rust spots almost, are going to pop up along the whole like edge of the plant. Eventually when it gets bad enough, the leaf is going to get weak and just shrivel up and die. One of the other things that potassium does is it helps the plant to regulate its own internal temperature. So when the plant's deficient in potassium, that internal temperature is going to go up. And that's what causes the burning. The little rust spots, that's what's going to cause that, is because the temperature is going up so much that it's just causing these burn spots. And since most of the evaporation or the transpiration from the plant happens along the leaf edge, and that's where most of this burning happens, so that's where you're going to see it the most. So the first thing I'm going to do is check my pH. Okay, that's the first thing I'm going to do when I have suspect any kind of deficiency, is check my pH. Maybe too high. Another thing I've known to cause potassium lockout is if you have a lot of salt buildup. So if you're using mineral salts as your feed base, as your nutrient base, you may get salt buildup, and that'll keep your plant from taking up potassium. The quickest way to clear that up is to flush the plant, so it breaks up all of that salt up, so it washes it out. And then after that, I would feed the plant just a very level NPK feeding. Once again, I would use a kelp meal with a little bit of fish emulsion, because that'll be an even 2-2-2 or 4-4-4. I've said this before, I believe. And then to bring the potassium back up to a healthy level, I would also add some potash in water. Now, when I say potash, I mean ash from wood that's burned, not from charcoal briquettes, because charcoal briquettes also have glues in them, and they have some have charcoal fluid or accelerant, some kind of in it, so I don't really want to add that in my feed. Another thing that I have to be careful of, or that I have to remember, is when I use potash is going to be high in pH. So once I mix it together, some ash and some water, I'm going to pH it. I'm going to pH it down because it'll be 10, 11. I'm going to pH it down to about a 5.5 or a 6 to a 6.2, somewhere in that range. Now, if my plant's got too much potassium, it's going to wind up locking out magnesium, zinc, I think manganese also. So I just have to understand, if I get these other deficiencies, I should look at, hey, maybe I've got too much potassium in there and it's locking everything else out. That's why I always suggest, to get a good grow book, because it's going to give you these details. And that's all the notes I have for potassium deficiency. And these are just the highlights that I put together. So if you have any other questions about potassium, and if you want to talk about something and have it clarified, once again, reach out to me, send me an email at inmygrow@gmail.com, or find me on Instagram at inmygrow. Well, brothers and sisters, that's it for today. That's all I've got. I appreciate you coming by. Don't forget to subscribe to the show. And if you're able to support the show financially, go to patreon.com, type in My Grow Show. And if you feel like the show's entertained you or educated you, throw me a couple of bucks. All donation amounts are welcome and appreciated, okay? But if you can't help financially, don't sweat it. But here's how you can help the show. Just tell 3 other people about it. That's it. Real easy. All right, niños. I'm going to get on out of here now. It's a beautiful day outside. It's almost summer. I'm going to go hand out some clones. I've got some Gorilla Glue clones that need some homes. Pretty soon I'm going to have some Do-Si-Do clones that need homes. So if you get a message from me about a certain girl needing a home, take an orphan. She'll be good to you. And I'm talking about a plant, okay? Don't get weird about it. So, yeah, keep an ear out. All right, everyone. As I said, I'm going to get out of here. And remember to be cool to one another and to always grow, learn, and teach.